Actually, there are many stories I have been going through, and I have watched many of these stories very closely because some of them have been very close to the area of work which I pursue. Two, three I would like to mention. One was the latest one on this Snoop Gate, where young architect girl was chased and followed and spied upon by the state machinery of Gujarat on the instructions of Sahib. Then second one which comes to my mind is this Operation Janmabhoomi, because I have been closely following and monitoring the things related to Babri demolition, the rise of communal violence around that, and there also your story I think was a real path-breaking thing, because as such everybody knows what they say, everybody knows, but question is then why nobody is getting punished. Question is then why are these commissions of inquiry not so definitive, and even there is an element of doubt here and there. So especially your Operation Janmabhoomi was very precise on the dot, and it also revealed three or four other things. One is that how these things are planned, secretly executed, and then presented as if it is a spontaneous reaction. So that breaks a very powerful myth, and that myth was created very systematically. Even our Prime Minister went on to say, Atal Bihari Vajpayee that time went on to say that it was a spontaneous anger of Hindus whose feelings were not being taken into consideration. So these sort of things which are a base of divisive communal politics, this stories like your Operation Janmabhoomi very successfully nails down that communal forces, that like communal violence, and these acts are not spontaneous. They are planned, they are executed so that some divisive political forces can come up in their own way. Now the third thing which comes to my mind is about your story on fatwa. I must say that fatwa basically means opinion which learned person can give. It is not binding. But in our divisive society where the Muslim minority especially feels very intimidated, feels very insecure, it has to resort more and more to these Maulanas. And then Maulanas again human beings, and whatever be their knowledge of Islam, because one cannot say that there is a single interpretation of Islam. One cannot say that there can be a single opinion on any issue which is there in Quran. Like I myself see from Maulana Wajiuddin to Asghar Ali Engineer, on the same issues there will be diverse opinions. So these Maulanas or even the seminaries, what they give is purely as one interpretation of what is given in Quran. And especially when we come lower down, then Maulanas on their own, for their own selfish reasons, they take probably money or whatever happens into the, and they go on dishing it as a sort of a thing which again is very painful. I am mentioning this because these are the things which we are confronting in our society. So actually I am grateful to your post, Cobra post, that these real truth of these factors which are dividing our society is coming to light, and it can help people like us who want to take awareness to the broad level, popular layer, to stand on the very solid ground and to say that this is not what religion means. This is not what religion means. Religion is basically something which preaches love, affection, togetherness, and these things, how religion is being abused, misused by other Maulanas on one side or Dharm Gurus on the other, or all these people behind Babri demolition is another. Operation Maya, yes, that I must say is very impressive from another angle, because if you see today there is a whole plethora of godmen doing diverse things. I must say in our society where there is an existential anxiety because of the globalization, uncertainties in life, people are resorting to godmen. But these godmen, rather than doing a proper job, they are again human beings. There is nothing God about their being men, right? They are men like you and me and anybody else, but they know that they can fool the people, they can quieten the people, and under the garb of this holy clothes, holiness, they do things which are unacceptable. Like we know one godman is behind the bars. And there are other, like in this your Operation Maya, what you showed, that converting black money into white money. Now this is worst of the type of corruptions. We see one godman talking against corruption day in and day and night. Here is another godman who's willing to help all these people with black money to make it white. This is as far as few of the operations I remember, but I think I like to go beyond that, and conceptual level what Cobra Post is doing, I think it is trying to bring transparency in our society. To me, last 2-3 years we saw huge agitations around the issue of corruption. But those all agitations which were created in the form of a spectacle, they operated at the level of symptom. I feel that corruption is a disease which is inflicting all our whole society, and that's where sting operations like this can show us how corruption is a deeper part of our system. So I will rank your sting operations on the lines to RTI. I regard that RTI has been the best instrument to fight against corruption, and stings like yours have been the best supplement to those type of things, those type of phenomenon, and this is the one which in the long term can make our society transparent, and we can fight against this menace of corruption in a very serious and systematic way. Because currently whatever happened in the beginning, it felt well, these messiahs against corruptions, one we called as second Gandhi, he has disappeared into the margins. He was actually used by some political forces to create like that. Same way another person started wearing a cap, again Gandhi cap unfortunately, and again they focus on that, hyper focused on corruption of one political party. While I see that corruption is a multifactorial, bilateral, multilateral phenomenon. So that way I think operations like yours are important. And your other operation which was related to these MPs taking money to raise the questions, MPs, those type of operations again will make our democratic foundations more solid. Because what is happening today, the elected representatives feel that now they have come to be in the saddle of power, rather than feeling that they have come into the position where they should be serving the country and the nation and the people in the proper way. They get a mistaken notion that they have got power and they abuse the power. So how do we control it? Now this is where I think Cobra Post is doing an immense and valuable job in democratizing our society. What I mean by this? Basically, I understand democracy is not like a furniture. It's not a fixed entity. Democracy is a flowing process, in that some people try to stifle democracy by creating spectacles, and some phenomenon try to deepen the democracy at a conceptual level, and that's where I see the role of Cobra Post. And to me today, I think democracy is the most precious thing. Because in this world, in this society, in our country, there are different sections of society who are trying to articulate their demands. And with this type of dispensation which we are having, which is trying to snub the activities of those people who raise the voice against the system. Now obviously a system, if people cannot raise their voice against the system, that is like dictatorship. That is like coming in of fascism. I want a society, I means a citizen wants a society where we have our duties, but we also call for our rights, and our rights are suppressed more if there is a lack of transparency. So Cobra Post I see filling this very crucial and important gap, that you make the transparency with full evidence. Like people know, as people say we know, but question is how do we prove? And this is where I think a portal like yours is doing immense service to the democratization process of our society. I say that wherever profit motives come, then the intensity with which you investigate sometimes gets stifled. Because then there is somebody sitting on the cash boxes monitoring whether this will yield to profit or not. So there the intense people may still do the very honest job, people may still do investigations, but I think if we are non-profit organization, that gives us a extra strength that we don't have any boundaries, right? Our boundaries only to unfold the truth, and I feel that non-profit way will be the best way in this particular direction? Well, funding wise, I think NGOs have their own ways of raising funds. But I think the most important thing which Cobra Post needs to do, probably according to me, is that Cobra Post is assisting the work of other NGOs who are trying to work for democratization process, who are trying to work our democracy stronger, who are working on the issues of women, protection of rights of the indigenous people, protection of the rights of religious minorities. So these are the sectors which have to regard that Cobra Post is doing part of our job. So actually it will be in their interest of their issues, that they come forward to keep Cobra Post floating, alive and kicking, so that their own issues, their own job becomes stronger. So actually I don't know, whatever little I will say, I will urge upon these type of social organizations who are deeply committed to the human rights of diverse sections of society. They must come forward, look at the work of Cobra Post as a extension of their own work, and allocate something for such a thing. And if such a message goes across, I personally feel that such an endeavor should be long lasting, should have deeper impact, and should have a sort of a way where these organizations identify with it in a more organic fashion, in a more stronger way. I only want to add that this message about truth, message about that truth is the way that our society can go forward towards a better society, has not gone in as far. Because some way I feel the other dazzle of the TV medium, print medium, with beautiful posters, covers, advertisements and all whatever they try to lure this thing. We have to try to reach out to a section of younger generation who is basically fired with proper values. So that's what I will request Cobra Post also to undertake such journalism which appeals to this section of society. So once we are able to appeal to them, automatically they will come forward and try to strengthen our own work also.